Good afternoon, Flosstube. It is Monday, January 2nd, and I am here to do my best to take you through a tutorial on how to make your own project bag. I've made a few of these now. Nice size, zipper, it's clear. So when you slide your books in, or your charts and your fabric and whatever, you've got a nice little place to keep everything safe. Now let me warn you, if you know how to sew, you might not want to watch this. I am self-taught at sewing, and so most likely what I'm doing is all wrong. It's probably going to look like a train wreck to you. If you don't know how to sew, then you can just sort of fudge along like I do. And sorry, I've got a cold. I think everybody in the world right now has some nasty cold, so my voice is going to crack a bit. But hopefully this will be enough guidance for you to try it on your own. And like I said, I don't sew much at all, and if I can do this, anybody can. So stay tuned. Okay, so when you're getting your fabric cut, you might as well get enough to make 2 bags just because of the way they need to cut the fabric. So you need 1/2 yard of the outer fabric, 1/3 yard of the lining fabric, 1/3 of the yard clear vinyl, I use a medium weight, 1/3 of a yard of fusible fleece, 2 14-inch zippers, and some Wonder Tape. Okay, first cut your lining fabric to 13 by 11 1/4 inches. You will also cut your fusible fleece the same size, 13 by 11 1/4 inches. Cut your medium piece of vinyl to 13 by 9 3/4 inches. Your outer fabric you're going to cut to 15 1/4 inches by 13 3/4 inches. The 15 1/4 inch is your width, so you may want to be careful if you have some directional fabric. Okay, your outer fabric, you're going to want to press it under 1/2 inch on all sides. I use a sheet of cardstock from scrapbooking, and I've drawn a 1/2 inch line, and I just use that to fold the cloth over and press it so I'll have the exact size. I'm sure there's some better gadget out there, but it works for me, and I've just used the same one over and over. So just fold over and press. So once you've finished all 4 sides, it should look something like this. From your outer fabric, you're going to cut 2 strips that are each 2 inches by 13 inches. For each of these strips, you're going to fold over each side 1/2 inch and press it. So you'll end up with a 1 inch by 13 inch strip. I've got a piece of cardstock again. It's 1 by 13, and I just drew a line down the center. And I did the same thing as I did with the outer fabric. I just fold the fabric over and press it in the middle. It does not have to be exact. So I fold over one side first, press it into place, and then fold over the other side. So when you're done, you should have 2 strips that look like this. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is sandwich the vinyl between those 2 strips. I use Wonder Tape to help hold it in place. I don't want to put pins in my vinyl. And so Wonder Tape is a tape that will, it's like double-sided tape, but it allows you to sew through and it won't gunk up your machine. And so I just go ahead and put Wonder Tape on both sides of the vinyl and then put those strips in place. So once the 2 strips are attached to the vinyl, I sew about a 1/4 inch seam to sandwich those 3 things together. Next, I put the zipper into the top of the sandwich and sew a scant seam. When you're sewing the zipper on, that vinyl might get stuck on your machine, so I have just taped a piece of paper or a Post-it note onto the bed of my machine to help that vinyl slide over and not stick. Okay, take your fusible fleece and fuse it onto the wrong side of your lining fabric. Okay, place your vinyl piece on top of your lining fabric and you're going to sew around all four sides. I use these Wonder Clips instead of pins because I don't want to pierce the vinyl. And when you're sewing, you may need to move that zipper up and down to keep it out of your way so it won't get in the way of the sewing machine foot. On the seams around the three sides, you just barely want to catch that vinyl with the thread just to make sure everything stays attached. So I might do about 1/8 of an inch seam there. And then you'll notice that I had some fleece sticking out, and so just clean it up. Make sure your edges are nice and neat by trimming it. At this point, you can trim both ends of your zippers. Okay, so now you're going to take that vinyl lining piece and center it on top of your background fabric, your outer fabric. Turn that folded edge from the top over and sew in place. Then do the same for the bottom. Fold it over and sew in place. Okay, you are almost done with the project. So this is the way I miter the corners on the sides. I unfold the sides, fold the corner down to make a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and then fold it over twice again and sew it in place. That keeps all those frayed edges hidden. There's probably a much better way to do this, but this is what works for me. And so miter your corners, do this on both sides, and you will have your finished project back. All right, here's a picture of the finished project. It's not terribly difficult. My tutorial is probably not much help, but I will type out the directions below in the comment area or in the notes section. And hopefully between the two, the video and my notes, you'll be able to have some success making one of these bags. I'm now trying to make them to match all of my projects. Have a good one.